Rob, thank you. The Camping World Truck Series heads north of the border this weekend to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And if today's race is anything like the previous two, it should be filled with high-octane drama.
White flag is out. One more time around. Out of gas for the 3.
Running out in the slow corners.
Here comes Elliott. Looking to the inside. Big contact. Elliott spins the 3. The 3 into the tires. Elliott wins in Canada.
You just gave up on trying to race and dump it.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, try to get a victory lane.
Look at these two slipping and sliding sideways, desperately racing toward the checkered flag.
Boy, this is deja vu of a year ago.
Herman Quiroga takes the top spot. Blaney tries the crossover. As they come to the line, checkered flag, Ryan Blaney by a nose.
Unbelievable.
So after looking at that, who knows what's in store for today's race? Welcome to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park and the Camping World Truck Series Setup Show. It's time for 64 laps around this road course. Welcome into our Charlotte studio, everyone. I'm John Roberts alongside of two-time series champion Todd Bodine. And Todd, when you look at what's happened here before, you got to say these races are true wild cards.
They are. You know, we always talk about Daytona and Talladega being the wild cards. I think this race is the same category. You just don't know what's going to happen. We saw right there 2 last lap passes for wins, getting spun out of the way. You never know. And you want to get to the end of this race because it leads to a 2-week break, and you don't want to go to the 2-week break with a DNF.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get to the finish of this race, but you want to watch every turn. Let's take a look at the Truck Series standings and see how they shape up as we head into this road course. After 14 of the 23 races, Tyler Reddick still maintains his points lead, but it's just 6 points over two-time defending series champion Matt Crafton. Eric Jones is 7 behind, and 53 points is where you have to go to find Johnny Sauter. So let's head out to the track where Hermie Sadler is standing by with our points leader.
Well, JR, Tyler Reddick is our points leader, and I got to tell you, a lot of your competitors may have been thinking prior to coming to this weekend they can get a little ground on Tyler Reddick. But you went on the racetrack. You guys have been fast in both of the practices, pretty good in qualifying. What was the key to you guys getting up to speed so early on this weekend?
Well, we just took a pretty relaxed approach to it. Knew that we didn't have to be that fast in the first or really the second practice, just getting comfortable. But thankfully, Alex Tagliani took a lot of time out of his day Friday to kind of get me up to speed on this racetrack, drove me around the track a little bit in a pace car. And so a lot of the tough parts of knowing when to brake and when to reapply the gas and where the best turn-in points are, a lot of that was taken care of for me. So I really just appreciate his help in getting us and our Stony Creek records F-150 up to speed.
Guys, Tyler Reddick, he'll roll off 4th, and he'll be a factor today. Who you got, Vince Welch?
Thanks, Hermie. I've got the two-time defending series champion, Matt Crafton, with me. In 2 previous trips to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, top 10 finishes both times, so you know the answer to this one. What's it take to have a good finish here on this road course?
The biggest thing is this on road course, you got to stay on course and don't miss any gears and just be smart. I mean, it's a long race. I mean, the thing is 62, 64 laps, something like that. I know they told me.
You better go 64. If you go 62, you're not going to like it.
Oh, yeah, exactly. We'll go 64 laps today. And stay on course all day and keep all 4 tires on the black stuff. And like I said, and then put yourself in contention to win. We've had 6th place last year, and I think we finished about 9th, 10th the year before that. But I feel we have a lot better truck this year, so we're really looking forward to today's race. I know you want to win, but you're also in the thick of the championship battle, just 6 points out of the lead. How do you balance those 2 desires? I'm honestly not real focused on the points battle. I mean, just go out there and try to lead laps, win the races, and like I said, if you do all that, and you'll get down to Homestead and see where we're at. Matt Crafton, he'll roll off 3rd today, Hermie.
Well, thank you, Vince. I got Eric Jones, and we hadn't even run the race yet, but qualifying, you guys, you and Alex Tagliani, back and forth, nose to tail, right to the end of qualifying. How bad did you want to get that pole position here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park?
Well, I think we all wanted to get it pretty bad, and obviously anytime you're even that close to a guy like that is a real statement to really anybody's team. So just pretty proud of everybody that got this Tundra that fast. It's a lot better than last year. We made a lot of improvements in a lot of different areas, and it's cool to be that fast to even run with him. So we'll see if we can keep up on the long run. He's been pretty substantially fast on the long run, so that's where the real race is going to be, but I'm excited about it.
You got a fast truck, but what will be the key to going to victory lane today? Outside of the 29 truck, what do you have to do in the 4 truck to have a shot?
Well, for us, obviously, you know, the 29 is going to be fast, but, you know, for us, we just have to make it to the end of the race and figure out our strategy and how to get to the end of this race. Obviously, it was one-on-one stop last year, so that's kind of, I think, in everybody's mind. But it'll be interesting to see all the strategies play out and just see kind of where everybody ends up at the end of the day and need to be up front and have a shot at it.
Well, JR, this guy has worked his way back into championship contention. He'll roll off second today.
Hermie, thank you very much. As we go on the road again, let's take a look at some of the numbers behind this Motorsport Park. It's the third series race here. Got 10 turns on this road course, and the past winners are Chase Elliott in 13 and Ryan Blaney in 2014. And we all know these guys drive really hard for their organizations, so let's hear what the drivers say about racing north of the border.
Canada.
A. Canada, A.
Speak French over there?
Cold. Canada. A lot of hills.
This race course, 2.459 miles, covering 10 turns.
Left and right. Roller coaster. Fast road course.
Blaney puts the block on. They're still wheel to wheel. The battle for the lead and the win in Canada.
So as you can see, the drivers are very fired up about getting out there, Todd. But right now, we're going to put you behind the wheel of a truck and take us around this big racetrack.
I love road racing. This will be fun. So we come down the start-finish line. All right, here we go. Come down start-finish line, third gear, down to second gear, first turn. Really, even though it's tight, this is a tight corner. It's a fast corner. Down to second gear, get off the corner, come up to a blind turn, 2A and 2B. You can't see these corners. You have to set yourself up going under that bridge and know where you're at. If you don't, you totally miss the line. Short straightaway, back down to second gear, turn 3, long left-hander. You got to try to carry some momentum. Even though you're in second gear, you got to get through that corner, get off the corner. Down the short straightaway, turn 4, tough corner because you're almost wide open through here, just barely lifting. Hard braking down into turn 5. Toughest, slowest part of the racetrack. But the hard part about here is getting off this corner. You have to get back to the throttle. You have to get to the throttle to get down this long Mario Andretti back straightaway. It's the fastest straightaway on the racetrack, 160 mile an hour. Leads into one of the most important parts of the track is the S's. And I say it's one of the most important because this is where we had our 2 last lap passes for the wins. First part of the S, right-hander down to third gear, left-hander down to second gear, and this is where those passes took place. Between here and this corner, turn 10, got to get through here. Back to second gear, back to the start-finish line, where it all started.
And a lot going on in one lap around here. But, Todd, as you say, it's a long way to get there, but we've had some exciting last lap passes.
Absolutely. This place, I don't know what it is about this racetrack, but it just lends itself to those kinds of finishes. I think, you know, you get these 1, 2, 3 trucks that are racing together, and you don't know what's going to happen. Guy going to bump them out of the way or make a good pass like Hermine Quiroga did. It's a great place to race.
Yep, and there's always a driver that's going to be upset at the end of this, but very rarely do we have a fan that's upset after that kind of racing. We're getting closer and closer to going racing as business is starting to pick up in the garage and on the grid. When the setup show continues, we're going to put Todd on the spot and ask what are the chances we get yet another last lap pass at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And Thor Sports Racing's Cameron Haley is not only a candidate for Rookie of the Year, but the Calgary, Alberta native returns home to make his second career start in the Truck Series.
I need Bondo, I need paint, I'm going to need some pinstriping. Well, do you want the long answer or short answer? No, the short answer. Well, I think it's going to take probably close to 4 hours to sand about this square section. Okay. So I'm going to say it's going to take close to a year. Okay. I'm going to go to a year and a half.
You know, Todd, I could listen to those Canadian people talk all day long. What a great accent.
I love it, eh?
Oh, yeah, you know. Make sure you're back for supper. Alex Tagliani, a native of Montreal, Quebec, will not only will be behind the wheel of the number 29 Brad Keselowski Racing Ford F-150, he will be starting up front on the pole, and he is standing by with Vince.
We're matching.
One of the most famous and popular racers here at this facility this weekend, the Canadian Alex Tagliani. His third race of the day. You've run 2 of the Support Series races already, and this is number 3 of the day. Fatigue or an advantage to have this course already under your belt twice today?
It was the perfect weekend to do this. Obviously, we're carrying Justin's memory decal on all the cars that we're driving, and just, you know, he was such a loving person, and you know, he loved racing. So when you're in the car, you know, you better appreciate and just absorb every lap that you're doing in his memory and in his respect. So yeah, it's not easy. I mean, obviously, you know, you're getting tired as you drive, but now I'm pumped in the 29 Cooper Standard truck for Brad, and we have a lot of supporters here with us, so hopefully we can give them a good show.
He's the prohibitive favorite in that 29 truck, Alex Tagliani. Hermie?
Well, Vince, I got Greg Gaulden, and Greg, I can only assume you've been looking forward to this weekend for a long time, not only because you love this racetrack, but your first race with Kyle Busch Motorsports. How's the weekend been so far, and your chances to go to victory lane today?
It's gone really well so far. Can't thank all these KBM, Krispy Kreme, Toyota Tundra guys. They've given me a really good truck. You know, I feel like we're okay in qualifying. You know, we got a pretty good spot with P8, but I feel like there's always room for improvement. But I feel like our race truck is really well. You know, our speeds in practice. You know, I sat down with Shannon, my crew chief, went over where we could be better and the changes we can make during the race. And we got a few things on our mind to do. But I want to say hi to my family back home in the States. Hopefully we can have us a good run today. We got 3 races with KBM so far. You know, we got this one, Loudon, and Martinsville. So can't thank all these Krispy Kreme, Toyota, everybody that's given me this opportunity to do this. This is a dream come true for me to be able to race for Kyle and Samantha Busch. It's been a great weekend so far, and I'd love to get a win for these guys.
Well, Greg Gaulden finished 4th last year. JR looking to improve on that today.
Hermie, thank you very much. We're going to go game show on you now. It's time to play What Are the Chances? We came up with 3 different topics for Todd, and he's going to give us his opinion on what the percentage is on how likely it is to happen. So, Todd, let's start out with question number 1. What are the chances we get another last lap pass in today's race?
Well, I think it's pretty good. I don't know what it is about this racetrack, but it lends itself to really close racing. We've had 2 races, 2 last lap passes. Not only last lap passes, but last corner passes. So I'm gonna rate that pretty high. I'm gonna give that up in the 80s.
Okay, 87% is what Todd came up with for that one. Topic number 2, what are the chances that Tyler Reddick wins the race?
Well, I spoke with Tyler, and he's never run a road course, knows nothing about it. He's kind of relying on his teammate a little bit, Alex Tagliani, to give him some pointers and help him out. So because he hasn't run road courses, I'm going to go pretty low on that one. I think he's probably going to be somewhere, I don't know, down in the 30s.
Okay, so 38% chance he wins, but what about his chances to leave with the points to lead?
I think he's got a really good shot at that. I think, you know, he's a really good racer. He picks up on everything really fast. He's really fast up here. His truck is good, and he's smart. And I think he's got a good shot to get a top 10 and maybe even a top 5. So I'm going to give him the points lead leaving this racetrack, probably up, 80s, in the 80s somewhere.
All right, what are the chances that Alex Tagliani can win a NASCAR race on a road course?
Oh, boy, I'm going to say that's pretty high. Alex is fast. Everything he drives on a road course, it doesn't matter if it's Indy cars, trucks, Xfinity Series, he's smooth, he's fast, he knows how to get it done. I'm not going to give it the 100%, but it's pretty darn close.
Okay, because he's going to start up front, and chances are he might stay there, according to Todd. Now, coming up next on the Setup Show, Ray Dunlap sits down with Canadian native Cameron Haley and asks him about what it means to race in his home country.
So, Sandusky, Ohio, and Calgary, Alberta are how far apart?
Just a mere 30 hours away.
How big has the change been?
Well, luckily the weather's very similar. It still gets freezing cold in the winter and just moderately warm in the summer, so I enjoy that.
Now, Todd, when you go racing, your setup is very important.
Oh, no.
Bad chair setup.
Crash turn 3.
Here comes the caution crew. Racing's Cameron Haley currently sits 6th in the Camping World Truck Series standings. He finished 11th in this race last year and will start 7th today. So let's take a look at where some of these young guns are running right now. Eric Jones is third in points with 1 win, 11 top 10s. Daniel Hemrick fifth in points with no wins so far. Cameron Haley is sixth in the points with 0 wins, but 7 top 10 finishes. 19-year-old Cameron Haley returns home to Canada for this afternoon's race. The Calgary, Alberta native currently resides over 1,800 miles from home in Sandusky, Ohio, where his ThorSport racing team is based. Ray Dunlap recently asked Haley what the transition has been like from the Great White North to a small Midwestern town.
What was it like when you walked through the doors the very first time here? Because most of these big shops are centered in Charlotte, and this one's way away.
Sandusky is a really nice place. I really enjoy living here, but there's just really nothing to look at. And then suddenly out pops this beautiful building. And to walk into these doors, you thought you were in a cup shop.
So Sandusky, Ohio, and Calgary, Alberta are how far apart?
Just a mere 30 hours away.
How big has the change been?
Well, luckily the weather's very similar. It still gets freezing cold in the winter and just moderately warm in the summer, so I enjoy that.
Now, is there a Tim Hortons here?
No, there isn't.
How do you handle that?
Luckily, I'm not a big coffee drinker.
Okay.
So that's not too bad, but I definitely, every time I go back and visit home, I'd make 1 or 2 stops there. Changing the wiring harness out here.
Yeah, put the new one. They really appreciate the fact that you're here, not just because it helps the friendships grow, but more that they see that you care enough to be down there and doing the work too.
And that's the biggest thing. They really appreciate it, and they can work harder knowing that I know how much they put into these trucks.
If we could move the motors back a 1/4 inch, it would fix all of these.
Yeah.
I know they've had you doing all kinds of different jobs, but how much time have you spent on each area, and what's your days like?
Most of the days is just me trying to learn as much as I can. I like to spend a little bit of time with each section of the shop. Got my first taste of welding. I even got a welding burn because they told me that I would be fine wearing a t-shirt, but I needed a long sleeve shirt, so I got my first welding burn.
And there's a lesson.
Just so much things I've learned throughout the past 3 or 4 months here, and I'm sure I'll learn more and more as I'm here more and more.
Cameron Haley, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, driver of the number 24, Cabinets by Haley Toyota Camry.
What's your thoughts about road racing?
Well, I love road racing. Coming from my NASCAR K&N Pro Series background, we got a lot of road courses in. We've been putting our hearts and souls into these road course trucks back at the shop, and I just think it's going to be a really good weekend for us. We got a lot of work to do before Canada.
Yeah, but we'll get it done. We haven't missed one yet, so we won't now. So,
what have you done to prepare yourself for racing in Canada and being the very best opportunity to go out there and get a shot at winning?
Well, it starts with the track map. You got to memorize that thing right off the bat. Watching lots of in-car video. I still have a lot to learn, but at the same time, I'm learning a lot, and I think we got a really good shot to go out and win one this year.
We are underway north of the border.
Is there any way to even think about what it would mean for you to win your first race and be in Canada?
Oh, I think about that each and every day. And when I saw the first schedule come out at the beginning of this year, Canada was circled as number 1. I think it'll just show how much dedication and how many great NASCAR fans there are in Canada. And for me to go in there as kind of the ambassador and go in there and win, I think that'd be a big thing for me and the country.
You know, Todd, it's not unusual at all that you look to the Camping World Truck Series for some of the stars of the future, but it seems the past couple years, especially this season, we have some very talented yet very young drivers.
You're right, JR. We got the truck series. These kids they're showing every week that they're good. Eric Jones, what can we say about him that hasn't already been said? The kid is fast. He's the real deal. You know, he's in good stuff every week, but every time he gets in that stuff, he proves that he's worthy of being in that stuff.
Yeah, he's a true rising star, but there are some other ones out there as well.
Cameron Haley, we just saw and spoke with him. He's a great kid. The smartest thing Cameron did was go to ThorSport Racing, an established team and a good team in the sport. And they surrounded him with good people, a veteran crew chief and Jeff Hensley, and having two veteran drivers like Matt Crafton and Johnny Sauter to be able to pull from. Tremendous opportunity for the kid.
What about Daniel Hemrick?
Impressive every single week. This kid, I don't know what it is. He has this knack of staying out of trouble, but going fast, and he's learning. He's with us. He's got a great future.
And then there's another name we better keep an eye on, Spencer Gallagher.
I love Spencer. This kid is a great kid. He's funny, good person. You know, he's had some troubles this year. Some of it has been his fault. Most of it hasn't been, but he's learning. He's getting faster. They've put together a great race team at GMS, and the kid's got a long way to go, but he's getting better.
So for more on one of these young drivers, let's go back to Vince.
It's been another solid weekend so far for Daniel Hemrick. He'll start 13th today. First time on a road course. I think you've handled it pretty well, but what's been the biggest challenge for you?
Just putting all 10 corners together. It's been a battle. I mean, I've definitely had to work on myself more so than we've had to work on our California Clean Power Chevy, but there in qualifying, tried hustling a little more than what I probably should have. Got ourselves back here for the start of this race, but it's really excited to be here. It's really cool to be north of the border here in Canada, and everybody's been real welcome to us, and we're excited to put a good show on for these fans.
What's a success for you today?
Log all the laps, stay on the racetrack. All these road course guys tell you if you do that, you'll have a good day. So we're excited about that. Hopefully I can put that into where we need to be. Who knows? Maybe we can figure it out halfway through and get a shot at this thing.
Daniel Hemrick's been a great season so far and looks to continue that today, JR. He starts 13th.
Vince, thank you very much. Certainly another one of those drivers to watch out for, but I think everybody's going to have their eyes on what's going on at the front of the field. Alex Tagliani in racing is coming up next. It is time for the Camping World Truck Series Chevrolet Silverado 250. Want to say a special thanks to Todd Bodine, but right now it's time for Truck Series Racing north of the border.
This week, the Truck Series ventures north to Ontario, Canada. At a road course that claims a rich history of victors, Motorsport has been known to spark recent controversy.
They make contact! Elliott wins in Canada.
As they come to the line, checkered flag right, Blaney by a nose.
That's an awesome race right there.
Tyler Reddick hangs on to the points lead, but veteran Matt Crafton and Eric Jones sit within 10 points of the top spot. It's going to be a wild ride.
An hour outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada is where you will find one of the country's most famous circuits, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Today it plays host to the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live on Fox Sports 1. Points lead not phased. Matt Crafton has 4 wins, the most he has ever scored in a season, and he is one of only 2 drivers to finish in the top 10 in 2 of the previous races here. Eric Jones has finished in the top 10 in the last 6 events, including a win at Iowa. He looks to improve on a 3rd place finish here a year ago. Alex Tagliani starts from pole for the 2nd year in a row with his 2nd track record. But can he close the deal and hoist a trophy in his native Canada today? Let's head down trackside to kick off the day with opening ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we would ask that everyone would please rise and remove your hats as members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police present our nation's colors. On Monday, we lost a member of our extended motorsports family, Justin Wilson. Justin's versatility and skill behind the wheel of a race car, the warmth that he showed to fellow competitors, race fans, made him a beloved figure throughout the racing community. We ask now that you join us in a moment of silence in memory of a true racer and friend, Justin Wilson. Please remain standing as Kyle Froman from Motor Racing Outreach offers today's invocation. Kyle?
Let's pray.
God, thank you for what has turned out to be quite a remarkable afternoon and weekend here at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. It doesn't take long here in the Canadian countryside to recognize the beauty of all that you've made. Thank you for wiring us with deep passion for motorsports that we've all come together to celebrate today. Last week, we were brought to a renewed reminder of the risk that's involved in our sport. And we pray that your love and your peace would continue to embrace all of Justin Wilson's family, friends, and colleagues. Today, whether we're competing, spectating, or working, we acknowledge your presence and pray that you would keep us safe throughout the day and fill us with joy. May all that we do honor you. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Amen.
You go. To perform our national anthems, please welcome actor and recording artist Scotty Newlands.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in it, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north, strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for
Next up, it's time to fire the engines and go racing here in Canada when we come back. Back here at the racetrack formerly known as Motorsport, that's what they called it for years. They still call it that. Motorsport stood for Motorsport. We're ready to go racing the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. Here's a couple of storylines for you to keep an eye on today. What will the strategy be for racing on the road course, the only road course event for the trucks this year? And is it really the field versus Alex Tagliani? Hi, everybody. Ralph Shaheen with my buddies Phil Parsons and Michael Waltrip as we get set to go racing here. And a glorious afternoon here. It started off a little overcast. Now the sun's popping out. So how will the strategy play out, Phil?
Well, last year, Ryan Blaney's team came here with a strategy of let's going to make this thing on one stop. And they did that. But the reason they did that is because they started back in 14th, so they felt like they had to do a little bit of strategy to get up front. And it worked. They made one pit stop, they got to the end of the race, and they won by about 6 speed over somebody that stopped twice. Now I think, I was talking to crew chief Chad Chad Kendrick in the garage area, and he said they're so fast with Alex Tagliani driving that same truck that they don't feel like they need to take that chance and maybe get behind on tires and run out of gas. So they're going to do the same strategies as everyone else. They're going to run backwards, going to start at lap 64, back up about 30 laps to lap 34. So anytime after 34 or 5, they're going to stop. They're going to all come in the pit somewhere between lap 5 and 15 to get a little bit of fuel. Then they can make it to that next stop, and that's what the strategy is going to be today.
And the guy with the big target on his back is Alex Tagliani. Michael, he is so fast. Can anybody stop him?
That was the question a year ago, Ralph. And yes, they did stop him. He had some troubles with his truck and got behind. And Ryan Blaney drove to victory lane. He started back in the 14th position. And check out this battle. Blaney from 14th with little or no road racing experience matched up against Armand Quiroga, who had some road racing experience. They battled side by side on the last lap. So I'm telling you, it is the field against Alex Tagliani, and I'm taking the field. I think these truckers will come through. One of them will slip in there and beat Tagliani today, and I hope we see a finish just like this. Look at the crossover move, sideways to the checkered flag. There's thousands of Canadian race fans all over this place. It's going to be a great day.
Well, before we go racing, we got to fire the engines. So let's head downstairs for the command.
And now for the most famous words in motorsports. Take a deep breath. Please welcome member of Provincial Parliament from Durham, Granville Anderson.
Drivers, please start your engines.
We're racing a Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
The engines have roared to life here north of the border. We're going to throw the green flag and go racing right after this. The trucks have begun to warm up the tires, moving around on a couple of pace laps, making their way around this beautiful circuit. A very nice Sunday afternoon here. Michael, here's our Camping World track description on a racetrack that opened back in 1961.
Words don't do it justice. There's just so many elevation changes, left and right turns. You've got 10 of them you have to navigate, 2.5-mile course. But this place is just so challenging. Let's take a look at the map. When you come across the start-finish line and dive down into turn 1, that's an off-camber, fast right-hander. Work your way through 2 and 2A, 3, and then maybe the most important turns on the track up there in turn 5 and 5A, Phil, because when you leave there, you're going to haul the mail down a long straightaway.
6 and 7 wide open, Michael, all the way down probably upwards of 165 miles an hour when you get to turn 8. A little sharp, fast right-hander, then back to a left-hander turn 9, and then turn 10 leads you onto the start-finish line. We saw Ryan Blaney make the pass in turn 10 for the win last year.
Here's the Shell race analysis, Phil, and you were already talking about the early pit stop. So you thinking 25, 30 laps?
Well, I think the first pit stop is going to come between 5 and 15.
Right.
What that means, 25, 30 laps, that's how far they can go on a full tank of fuel. They're going to try to get in their window to make this pit stop probably somewhere around 35, 40 laps for their final stop. You can see Chase Elliott 1 and 13, Ryan Blaney last year.
So trucks make their way up through the famed Moss Corners. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for today. You've heard all about Alex Tagliani. Eric Jones has been so quick, he's going to line up right alongside outside row 1.
How about Matt Kraft and Tyler Reddick? We've got all our point contenders up in the front 2 rows. They got a good eye on each other here.
Cole Custer and Ben Kennedy, too, Michael. They've been good.
I'm so happy for Ben Kennedy. What a fast truck he's had all weekend. And Cameron Haley, he's from Canada, charging from that 4th row.
Back behind him, Johnny Sauter had a bad spin earlier this weekend, but kept it off the wall. He was pretty quick.
Brandon Jones has shown some speed here. How about Daniel Hemrick? The last 9 races, 8 top 10 finishes for him. First race on a road course in the Truck Series.
TJ Bell's going to be on the outside of row 9. 94, John Westanley in a backup truck, Michael.
Yeah, Daniel Brown, he's had a good run. Rory Black Jr. stalled on the track, but he thinks he's got that truck tuned up for today.
Jordan Anderson drove all the way from North Carolina by himself to get up here to race.
Don't hear of that enough anymore, do we? That used to be common every day. Not so much anymore. Jennifer Jo Cobb, she hit the wall pretty hard yesterday, but she's back in the field.
Let's see if we can check in with our pole sitter, Alex Tagliani. Now, it's radio contact's pretty challenging at this race. Let's see. Hey, Alex Tagliani, Phil Parsons up in the Fox Sports 1 booth. You got a copy?
10-4, boys.
Alex, we know that you've got 3 second-place finishes in the Xfinity Series. How much would a win here in NASCAR at your home racetrack mean to you?
It would be awesome, obviously. There's a lot of fans here, and the Truck Series drivers and teams and sponsors are enjoying to come here in Canada. I can see the fans out there. It's crazy. Yeah, it would be fantastic for them to have a Canadian win the race, but big picture is, helping the team, looking around for the guys that are in the championship and make sure that I drive a good race because I want to do some more of these. I don't want any.
All right, buddy. Have a great race. Thank you. Let's take a look at some of our onboards here. Cameron Haley, another Canadian, the second Canadian in the field. He's in the cabinets by Haley Toyota. Comes in here 6th in points. It's a home game for him as well, and he starts from the 7th spot.
Let's hop on board the 5th place starter, Cole Custer, and Dale Jr. Chevrolet from Haas Automation. This truck's been really fast. He was good here last year. This California teenager will be tough to beat today.
Let's ride along with Eric Jones. He was 3rd here last year. He's 3rd in points, only 7 points behind. All the guys in the garage who said if there's anyone can run with Tagliani, it's this young man, Eric Jones here. He starts from the outside of the front row.
Well, we might as well ride with the pole sitter, huh? Let's go on the Ford EcoBoost onboard camera for Alex Tagliani. It's Tagliani against the field. He's got his work cut out for him, though, Phil. Yesterday in the final practice, Jones was the fastest in the first round of qualifying. Tyler Reddick was the fastest. So these boys can run with him today, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Well, we have 2 men covering the action for us down along pit road today, Hermie Sadler and Vince Welch. Let's get their thoughts before we go green. Hermie, how about if you kick us off for us?
Well, Ralph, Johnny Sauter has had a really good career in the Camping World Truck Series, 10 victories to his credit. But this year, with issues on the racetrack and some issues on pit road, has dropped him 53 points out of championship contention. But this weekend, Johnny Sauter has told me this is the best truck he's ever had on a road course, and he feels really confident in his chances today. And if luck has anything to do with it, maybe this weekend will be the weekend things will turn around, because he dodged a big bullet in practice here yesterday. He hung the left rear tire of his truck off of the pavement. Right here you can see just one little bit off of the pavement, and a couple spins in fact. Matt Tiffs squeaks by, no damage to the 98. So maybe that's a sign that things are turning around for Johnny Sauter. We'll see if he can get himself back in contention here today. Vince Welch.
Well, you're not going to win the championship today, but you could certainly lose it. And that's first and foremost in the minds of our 3 championship contenders, Tyler Reddick, Matt Crafton, and Eric Jones. They're separated by just 7 points. Eric Jones' crew chief, Rudy Fugel, told me you can't be too conservative, but at the same time, you can't be overly aggressive. Well, guys, that's a very fine line when you go road course racing, and if you step over that line, it could be trouble today, and it just might cost you a championship. Ralph?
Yes, it sure could, Vince, and we're going to take care of some more business real quick. They're going to take another pace lap. They take a little while to get around here, so we'll knock that out before we go green. This is the 3rd time the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series has raced here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Show you a little bit of the history of the trucks and road course racing. It's the 19th road course event for the series. 5th different road course event on Sonoma, Portland, Topeka, and the Glen as well.
Yeah, we went 13 years without a road course event before we came back here in 2013, and what a great time it's been here, the 2 previous runnings.
And how welcoming is it to come to Canada and see all these NASCAR fans lined up around this racetrack? I just love the energy of this event. They're going to go crazy if Cameron Haley or Tagliani can pull this off.
Let's take a look at the incidents from yesterday. We told you how rough it can be if you get off course here. This is Jennifer Jo Cobb into the tires.
It looked like she blocked up her left front brake, and Phil, she just slid off the road, and that's the result.
They just get bigger. Watch John West Townley.
Yeah, John West gets a little bit loose getting in the corner there. Pretty hard contact with a tire barrier for him as well. It forced him to a backup truck.
And then watch this one. Robert Mitten into the tire barrier at the exit of Turn 8. Michael, that is one of the fastest sections of the racetrack.
Look at that debris flying in the air. Those tires like they were just toys tossed up in the air. But Mitten steps out of his truck, and he's perfectly fine. Even though he can't reach the ground at first.
He's on 4 or 5 feet off the ground.
And it's action like that, and that we've seen here in previous years that have brought out the huge crutches.
For a race today.
Here we go. Can anybody stop Alex Tagliani, or will he get his first win?
You can't.
Sure. No doubt about it. Green flag, ready to wave. Here we go. We're racing in Canada. Through turn one, now one of the most daunting corners on the circuit, right here, turn two.
Tagliani out in front of Eric Jones.
Through the elevation now as you go through three, head over to four, and then Michael, the most important corners, the Moss corners, 5 and 5A.
And look at this roller coaster ride that they are. As you see Cole Custer on the outside there as they approach 5 and 5A. He's going to have a bad angle entering these two turns. You have to get a good run off here. Is important here because, Phil, these trucks draft so well. Another truck out in front of you, you can close 4, 5, 6 car lengths because of the draft.
Cole did a great job through the center of turn 5, get out in front of Matt Crafton. Got a pretty good shot up off the corner. You see him open up about 2-3 truck lengths.
Speeds approaching 165 miles an hour as they go under the Canadian Tire Bridge. Really hard on the brakes here for turn 8 right through here. Riding with Jones on his bumper cam.
See him drop down the second gear here. A little short shoot before turn number 10.
Look at the thrill ride that this is. You can see the bumps. You can see the elevation changes and how technical this place is. That turn 10 is one of the most technical turns
off on yesterday evening about 6:45 local time. Well, Alex Tagliani has already run 2 races today in 2 other classes here. So he's been on this racetrack all morning.
And he was leading in one of those races late, got roughed up a bit and wasn't able to get the win. So he's even hungrier than he was yesterday.
There's the other Canadian, Cameron Haley, the 13 truck, doing a real nice job. Right now running up in the 7th spot. We're right along with him in his Cadmus by Haley Toyota.
Listen to him get back in the gas a bit as he runs up toward 5. Listen to that engine, down around 2,500 RPMs as he exits there.
It's amazing. These engines are going to have to go from 2,500 RPMs to 8,000 RPMs. In one straightaway.
And if you're a racer, that puts a big smile on your face. You go through grinding through gears and gaining that much speed on one straightaway. There's turns 6 and 7. That's a good ride.
And it puts a frown on your engine builder.
That too.
Down the Mario Andretti straightaway. Back through 8 and 9. And that right-hander at 10. Haley from the western part of Canada. In that 13.
Ray Galding just behind him there in that Krispy Kreme Toyota. For Kyle Busch Motorsports, Timothy Peters following along.
A couple of Virginia drivers right there. Ray Galding, Timothy Peters.
And that Sauter behind them. Really fast truck all day yesterday. He's very confident in what Johnny Sauter has here. Be fun to see if, these guys, it's going to be tough to make a move for a few laps. They're just getting settled in, getting their timing back. But when the tires start to go off, and the ones that will go off first are the rears, they'll begin to spin their tires exiting the corner, and that's when a better handling truck can take advantage.
Timothy Peters peeked to the inside of Greg Galding for just a moment. Now tucks back in line.
You have to have so much patience up here in the Moss corners.
Yeah, so probably one of the more easy corners on earth to overdrive.
Yeah.
And you're really going to pay for it if you do it.
Talking to the crew chiefs, they said if you lose just 150 to 200 RPMs in that series of corners right there, it will just get you eaten up down this long straightaway.
And it will ruin your day mentally because you mess up that corner and you're just, you can't do anything about it. It's already done, and you just have to live with it.
Tagliani in front of a pair of Jones. Eric Jones right here in the 4. And then it's the 33 of Brandon Jones behind him.
This is Cole Custer trying to get by Matt Crafton here. That's for the 3rd spot. He's able to do it. He hangs with him here.
That's tough sledding right there. Digging down on the bottom.
Got it done as they head down the hill to 4. We're racing in Canada. Stay with us. We'll be back for more. Leading here early, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. former pole winner for the Indy 500 back in 2011, Alex Tagliani. 2 poles, 2 track records in the last 2 years here. He just hasn't gotten the win.
You know what I love about Tagliani? Pole sitter for the Indy 500. Won all over the world. Comes here, he's just a truck racer. He's just a truck racer trying to get to victory lane. And so respectful and just one of the guys down in the garage area.
2-time Truck Series champion Matt Crafton, currently running 4th, Hermie.
Yeah, Ralph, he started 3rd, now running 4th. You see him battling with the 00 of Cole Custer, the 11 of Ben Kennedy. A couple things to remember from listening on the radio, 4 spotters for the 88. That's pretty much the norm for the top teams up and down pit road. So a lot of different voices on the radio today. Truck's a little bit free. They expect to be on pit road, their first stop at lap number 12. So we'll see some different strategies unfolding over the next 6-8 laps.
You know, Ralph, I think I'd have been a better road racer if I had 4 or 5 people helping me drive like that. They got folks scattered out everywhere looking out for them.
You know, you were talking about Tagliani. I was talking to, as we see the 19 truck right there of Tyler Reddick coming to pit road. He's the first one of our front runners to head to pit road here to get in that window to make it on one more stop.
He brings Brandon Jones with him, so the process has started. You talked about it at the top of the show, Phil. They're getting in, getting just enough gas so they can get into their window, Vince. Is that the plan at the 19 pit?
That's exactly right, Michael, and that was business as usual. 4-second stop, just enough fuel, no tires for Tyler Reddick, the points leader down in one. The 33 of Brandon Jones is in as well. These are all planned stops to get into their window so they can make one more stop the rest of the way to get the finish line. It's a 4-tire change for Brandon Jones. He's been impressive throughout the course of this weekend. They keep him on track all day long. He's a guy that we expect to see in the top 10 today.
And guys, you may ask, why are they putting tires on so soon? But remember, these are the same tires that they qualified on yesterday. We had 2 sessions of qualifying, a number of laps on these tires for these guys. They just had to go ahead and put tires on.
10-4 this time.
And this is like Tagliani's headed that way too.
Yeah, and you got to remember, Tags hasn't run a lot of NASCAR races. He's got to be careful getting to pit road. You don't want to speed. Any kind of penalty we saw last year, Cole Custer made a mistake on pit road. Couldn't ever get over it. So Tags has got to be careful getting to pit road, which it looks like he was, and his team has to be precise on this stop.
Had about a 2.5-second lead.
As you can see, fuel only for Tagliani.
Go, Hermie.
Timothy Peters also making his way down pit road. It'll be a similar situation. There'll be no tires, no adjustments, fuel only for Timothy Peters, topping off to get in the fuel window.
Peters is away.
And the only strategy for these guys is they want to make sure they get in before the caution flag comes out. The caution flag coming out would be a huge disadvantage for the people that haven't come to pit road yet.
And the same thing will happen when they make their next pit stop. But other than that, the word strategy won't enter into today's race. Everybody's going to be on the same program, so that means it's just a straightforward, who's the fastest, who's the best road racer is going to win this race. I love the sound of that. Gears changing, all these elevation changes. Watch that left right front tire. It comes up off the ground as he makes his way through turn 5.
You can see how patient he is as he arcs that truck through there. And then it's flat out through here. And Michael, your 2 favorite corners right here at 6 and then 7.
Just wide open. I'm really good at those.
He came out in the 15th spot. Great pit work by his guys. Here's our 00 of Cole Custer right now with Matt Crafton, the 88 right behind him. He's running second. Cole Custer, Eric Jones, our leader right now, with a pit stop by Tagliani.
Vince, here's Ben Kennedy.
Well, they've been really happy with the job that Ben Kennedy has done throughout the course of this weekend. Crew Chief Scott Zipadelli's been pleased with the speed that they've had. They are optimistic about today, and they're starting with a 4-tire change, also putting the fuel in there to get them in the window. Scheduled stops for all.
I think it's interesting these tire changes. I didn't really see that coming. We saw Tags. He just got a little bit of fuel. But you're right, Phil. A lot of laps in qualifying. Perhaps this could be a performance advantage later.
Some sort of an issue, yeah. You see it, one of his crew members laying down.
You remember this truck yesterday had a rear end problem.
Had a broken an axle came out. Didn't really break it. The cap that held the axle in came out. This is our leader, Eric Jones. Watch this down the straightaway.
After about 160 miles an hour, they enter turn number 8.
Listen to him work the gas.
Down the second gear for turn 9. We're going to run this short chute in second gear. Here's the exit of turn number 10 to the front straightaway.
Hear him just work the throttle. You don't just mat it. You have to really manage the power under the hood of that Toyota to get it to those tires without spinning them.
And as Ralph was talking about how turn 2 is challenging, that's because you set up for turn 2 blind. You really don't know where it is till you crest that hill, and you better be in the right spot when you get to the top of that hill.
It's total commitment, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And then what I really like about this racetrack is it challenges you in so many different ways. The courage of corners like turn 2, technical spots like here, through the Moss Corner that takes so much patience, and then outright speed down the Andretti straightaway.
And that's the thing I love about this strategy we're talking about. Right now, Eric Jones just needs to run absolutely as hard as he can, try to make as much ground up, because Tagliani's had some issues with some traffic, slowed him down a little bit.
Speaking of sheer speed, Matt Crafton was able to get around Cole Custer, and he's starting to close on our leader, Eric Jones. Watch this move by Crafton. He's had a really fast truck ever since we got to Canada, dives hard inside and makes the pass, getting ready to head up the hill.
Crafton and Timothy Peters, the only 2 drivers to have finished in the top 10 in both races up here. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
You know, the 2 previous years we came here, we said, well, Matt Crafton has to just stay on the racetrack, not lose a bunch of points here, pile up the top 10s, which he did, but now they have a different mindset. This whole year, they've had a different mindset. It's about winning races and leading laps. They've won 4 races already, which is twice as many as they've ever led, or as they've ever won before in the season, and they already led more laps than they did in any one season.
And the last time by, Matt Crafton was the fastest truck on the track, closing in on Eric Jones. These guys are really heating it up right now, trying to get all the ground on Tagliani they can as he works his way through that traffic. See if they can use that open track with him in traffic to come out ahead of Tagliani after the pit stop.
And Matt Crafton may decide to stay up 1 lap longer than Eric Jones to get that point for leading a lap.
And we're talking 7 points between our top 3 in the championship standings. You lead a lap, you get a point. You want every point you can get. This thing's going to come right down to Miami.
Cameron Haley in that 13. He's running in 4th. Finished 18th at Bristol. Broke a streak of 4 straight top 10s. I'd like to start that streak all over again. Maybe top 5s this time around.
Having a great battle with Ray Galding in that 54 truck. Crew Chief Jerry Baxter, it's birthday today.
Ah, happy birthday, Bax.
And in the land of Tim Hortons, I still don't know how they got that Krispy Kreme truck across the border.
I love Baxter. He's a good man.
You're better than he is. Take care of your stuff now.
That was the crew talking to the 54.
And look how wide he swings off that first turn. Man, right to the edge of the grass.
And that's about the only spot on the racetrack, Michael, where you can get away with that.
And that's why they're out there.
Yeah.
If that weren't paved, they wouldn't be doing that. But they take advantage of every inch of asphalt they can put their tires on.
And you see all this beautiful grass? If they paved that, they'd be running there too. We wouldn't have any corners. They just go straight.
These are racers. They're going to do whatever they can. Hop curbs, cut corners, anything for those all important tenths of seconds.
See, Galding's moved up a couple of spots from 8th to 5th.
Ray's second start this year. He ran a race earlier at Martinsville for Red Horse Racing. First of 3 events that he's going to run for Kyle Busch.
He's done some road course racing with the K&N E Series. Finished 4th at Virginia International Raceway, where the K&N cars are running this weekend.
There you see Galding. Matt Crafton, the only racer in the top 5 that isn't a teenager. Can you imagine that?
Cole Custer, the 00 hit pit road, Michael.
We're talking about one of the most famous road racetracks in all of North America. A bunch of teenagers showing the way.
Herbie, how about Custer on pit road?
Scheduled stop. They're going to put tires on the 00 as well. A little bit tight on the right-handers for the 00. The driver's side is down. Also, Johnny Sauter on pit road. His truck has been loose. He's down and away as well. Scheduled pit stop on that 13 for Johnny Sauter.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Put rear tires on it, did he?
From the spinning, so that team used a little bit of strategy there.
I think Doug George was listening to you. Crew chief for Johnny Sauter. He's going to come out right behind Cole Custer, so they gained a lot of track position by doing that.
There goes Daniel Hemrick. Check this out. You won't see this very often.
They're only allowed to use one jack, so they had to jack it up under the fuel cell rack. Dumped a little fuel in it, changed rear tires, and here we go.
That could be the race-winning move right there. That strategy could have been what Johnny Sauter needed to be able to best these guys. I like it.
Johnny Sauter has 4 Xfinity Series road course starts. Best of 6th place in Mexico, and problem here.
And that could be a problem for Eric Jones. He hasn't gotten to pit road yet.
Well, here he is. He was just headed to pit road, wasn't he, Vince?
Was indeed, Ralph, and now Eric Jones will come in for the scheduled service. It's interesting, crew chief Rudy Bugle started the race on the other side of the track over atop the fans hill, keeping an eye on the start of the race, has since moved back over to the pit box. It's a 4-tire change for the 4 of Eric Jones, who pitted from the lead. He's 3rd in the championship coming into today's race.
And the green light is still shining on the entrance to pit road, so these guys are all able to pit right now. They haven't thrown the caution for that truck on the back.
And all of our top 15 trucks have already made their pit stops, so we're all good to go, and the caution comes out now.
There it is. First one of the day.
I think NASCAR just said, maybe we'll wait a bit to throw that caution until everybody gets on pit road. That's a cool move.
Well, they got it all handled. Caution is out. We'll take care of some business ourselves. We'll be right back. They're legends, icons, and warriors. And starting next month, 2 of the biggest names in the UFC will face off as coaches as interim featherweight champion Conor McGregor and Uriah Faber join an all-new season of The Ultimate Fighter. The mayhem begins Wednesday, September 9th, only on Fox Sports 1. Maybe we've got a little strategy playing out here after all. You see, Cameron Haley is still leading here, and it looked like, Phil, everybody had pitted but him.
Except him. He kind of slipped by me there.
And he had the opportunity to pit, Phil. He just decided not to. I think they changed their strategy midstream.
It's turning well. I'm just struggling with drive off. The left-handers and right-handers just too free. I can't get any drive off. Sure, bud. We're going to stay out here. We're committed to this right now, our strategy. We pit now. We can't make it. I was hoping it would go green a long time here, but it's going to work out. We can probably do this in one stop.
That's crew chief Jeff Hensel, and I talked to him. He said he didn't plan on doing it, but he was going to run 15 to 20 laps before he made his first pit stop. I think the caution came out before he could get to pit road, guys.
And we hear Cameron, look, right there, shutting that Toyota engine off and coasting. Obviously, that's saving a lot of fuel. Said he was loose off of all the corners, so he's got some challenges.
We'll be back, and we'll see if that strategy pays off. We are north of the border, one of the most famous road racing circuits in all of North America. Formerly known as Motorsport, today Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Ron Fellows, who got his first career win on a road course at Watkins Glen in a truck, is one of the owners of this fine facility, and they have done a remarkable job of turning it into a world-class road racing facility.
How could you script this? We're going to have a restart with Canadians on the front row here.
From opposite ends of the country.
Yes, yes.
And from the...
Oh, look at Haley squeezing him, too. Haley in the white and red truck from Alberta. Tagliani in the blue and yellow from Quebec.
They're also from the opposite ends of the experience spectrum, too. Haley just...
Oh, problem for Tagliani.
Or did Haley just sneak him on the jump?
Tagliani went and then stopped. It looked like he may have missed a gear.
Man, and that can be dangerous when you're shifting gears and miss one. Could have broke a gear inside that transmission.
We'll watch, keep a close eye on him, see if he can keep up. If he can keep up, more than likely he didn't damage any gears.
I talked about on the opposite ends of the spectrum experience-wise, you wouldn't have thought Tagliani would have made a mistake there. Haley with the chance to lead the race exuberant about the start, but he did his job perfectly. Look at Jones. Will he dive to the bottom?
Here they come up to the Moss corners.
No, Cameron shuts the door.
Well, he's right there, right on him from this front bumper cam.
Look at that launch. Haley got off the turn, though. Great job by Cameron.
He got through there very well, didn't he?
With a lot of pressure, Ralph.
Yes, he did.
Look at those RPMs.
Maxing them out as we come up the hill. That's a steep climb, too.
Well, you thought about driving to the inside in turn 8.
You gotta make that move to see if Haley might just falter under the pressure, but he didn't do it.
Remember, Cameron Haley's not been to pit road yet. Now Eric Jones going to jump to the inside.
First looking inside.
Contact at turn 10.
You've got to be careful when you're racing for a championship to not put yourself in a position to jeopardize your truck. And little left front damage possibly there on Eric Jones's truck.
Not only did he not get the lead, he might lose second to Custer if he can get back to the inside.
See a little bit of smoke there on the left front. That fender's been in on the tire.
Yeah, he was well up beside of Cameron Haley. Cameron should have known he was there, but he shut the door on him. You see Tagliani trying to make his way back up towards the front inside of the 00 of Custer.
That's a battle for third. Door to door. Down the hill they go.
I don't think Tagliani's going to take any chances on these passes. He knows he has a great truck. Just take his time, be patient.
And I like what... Oh, we got the caution.
Caution is out again.
But Phil, I like what Haley did. He had the lead. He didn't give it up. He still had a nose on the guy in second. He dove into the corner. He didn't cut him off completely. He left him some room and just...
That's right where Mitten went off yesterday. That's Daniel Brown in the 63 truck, the Brown and Geeson Limited machine.
Yeah, that's between turn 8 and turn 9.
His result was much better than Mitten's.
Much better, but you see a little bit of damage on the left rear as well as the front. These tires certainly cushion the blow, but the body sure takes a beating.
He was running 17th at the time.
It's going to help Cameron Haley with his fuel situation, too.
What's he got to run, Phil? Another 12, 13 laps?
No, I think he's got to go about 15 more laps.
Here's that restart, guys.
Something, it looked like Tagliani must have missed a gear because let's listen to it, see if we can tell.
Just spun the tires, I think.
It sounded like he just spun the tires really, really bad.
You could hear it get into the rev limiter. And I think what happened was he started to go, and he was ahead of the guy in the control truck, Cameron Haley, so he let off a little bit. He saw Haley go, jumped on the gas, and the power of those rear tires on that Ford EcoBoost truck just spun him.
Heated up the hides, didn't he? We'll be back. Let's see what they do with another restart after this. College football is back, and Fox Sports 1 has a game everyone's been waiting for as Jim Harbaugh makes his Michigan coaching debut when the Wolverines take on the Utah Utes. It's the season's biggest opener, and the only place you can see it is on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Coverage begins Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern, sponsored by Geico.
Ralph, all I have to say about that is go blue.
Yes, I'm sure you do, being a native of Michigan.
That's right.
Well, they've already got the tires just about back in place.
I'm for the Utes.
You for the Utes? No, in particular, two of them. 2 Utes. We'll be back. Still in the midst of our second caution period of the day. 20 laps completed. 44 to go. Race was scheduled for 64 today.
All quiet inside the 29 truck of Alex Tagliani.
Yeah. Maybe he's saving a little fuel for that Ford engine of his. Here's our Ford facts.
10 road course wins for Ford out of the 18 previous races. Kind of swept it all last year here at Motorsport. Pole by Alex Tagliani, and Ryan Blaney went to victory lane for Brad Keselowski.
Yeah, last year, Brad Keselowski Racing won this race and Bristol. It's the only time in the history of Brad Keselowski Racing they've won 2 races in a row. Guess what? They won Bristol last week. Looking pretty good here in Canada this week. Could make it 2 years in a row for 2 in a row.
How about Cameron Haley, Hermie?
Ralph, Jeff Inslee is the crew chief on the 13. He says they need to be on pit road by lap 30. They've asked him to put a little more front brake on this truck to help him on entry, and he's just gave his driver a little bit of a pep talk. He thinks they got good things coming today on the 13. Listen to this radio.
Yeah, I'm just getting kind of loose and bite everywhere. A little bit free in braking in through the center, and then free up off.
You're a little bit braking, a little free braking puts you half a click towards the front, bud. Half a click of front brake. That might help you from not being so free when you get in the gas.
And after that, he tells his driver, Cameron Haley, that they feel like when this race is over, if pit sequences fall like they think it will, then everybody else on pit road will be in for a surprise. They think the 13's got the right strategy.
Well, it worked last year for Ryan Blaney for sure.
And Ryan Blaney came out of the 14th starting spot and surprised all of NASCAR by grabbing the win here on the road course. Could the Canadian Cameron Haley do the same thing today? Looking good early, Vince.
Hey, I told you guys earlier about Rudy Fugle, the crew chief for the 4 of Eric Jones, going back and forth between both sides of the track. Get a shot of him. He's over on the opposite side of the track, the outside of the track now where the spotters stand, because they don't feel like their spotter that's on the a little further down. There's Fugle in the red and black shirt, second from the end, and it gives a little bit better look into turn 1. So an added spotter, if you will, for the 4 of Eric Jones to make sure they don't get in trouble going into turn 1.
Well, and the spotters are kind of staged all over the place around here. They're in a wide variety of different sections using grandstands, hillsides, just about anything. And we're back to green.
Another great start by Cameron Haley.
A little bit smoother for Tagliani this time, too.
Look at Eric Jones swinging way wide as the Haley truck's able to drive off with the lead as they head up the hill.
Now Custer side by side with Eric Jones in a battle for second.
And Reddick, it looks like, in there as well with Tagliani.
Custer's able to get it. He made that pass. You heard him gear down hard and drive away from Jones.
Here's Tagliani giving chase.
I think right now it's just about keeping these leaders in sight. They know the 13 truck's going to... Everybody from here on out has to make one more stop as Custer goes for the lead.
Right to the inside. Bounces up over the curbing and doesn't get it done.
And it's going to lose some momentum that allows Jones to get side by side.
These kids are aggressive, aren't they? They want to go right now. It's a drag race down the backstretch. The Toyota of Eric Jones against the Chevy of Cole Custer. Custer's got a little drafting help there with Tagliani, and they're both going to swing around Jones.
Foot camera on your left. This is Tagliani's feet at work. He's inside of Jones. Trying to get third as they come up off of turn 10.
I love that camera. You see him back off the gas just to shift gears for a moment.
And just remember, look at this battle he's swarming inside of. All that footwork, driving the truck, thinking about what he's got to do to make moves. That's amazing.
And his teammate Reddick trying to come around the outside of Jones as well. And Ben Kennedy's right here in the mix in the black 11.
Guys, I've been watching Ben Kennedy's lap times throughout this race. He's as solid as anybody on the racetrack. And you can see he's fighting right there for a top 5 spot. Ben's getting it done.
And was fast all day yesterday as well. Top 5 both practice sessions.
Kennedy closing up on the back of the 19 of Reddick. Nice run through the Moss corners for Kennedy. He really closed up in the middle of the turn.
Johnny Sauter's right in there as well. Right behind Ben Kennedy. And we talked about how strong Johnny Sauter's been this weekend, other than that little bit of a spin, or a lot of a spin, whatever the case may be.
It's going to be a great day for Kennedy to change what has been a bad stretch. He was 15th at Bristol. His 6th straight finish outside the top 10. He's in the hunt here as Custer has to deal with Tagliani coming around the outside.
That's because Cole Custer went for the lead on Cameron Haley on the inside. In turn number 10, it didn't work out for him. Lost some momentum.
Look at Tagliani around the outside. Makes the move back on Custer. And now Eric Jones looks to the inside of the 00.
Doesn't look like we have over 40 laps left, do we?
That's why I love truck racing. These guys know they've got to go right now.
Vince, how about the truck number 29 running in second of Tagliani?
Well, I think what's amazing, too, about Tagliani, remember, he did not take tires on that stop, nor did his teammate, the 19 of Tyler Reddick. So Tagliani getting it done on no tires and made it even more impressive when he made that pass on Eric Jones, because Jones did have 4 tires at that pit stop. So Tagliani making it work despite being on those old tires.
Cameron Haley has done an excellent job here maintaining this lead since he inherited it when the caution came out.
Yeah, that's just great driving, taking advantage of the situation. Remember, you talked about it, Phil, a year ago. That's how Blaney got to the front. And once he got there, that's where he stayed.
Happy to report that the driver of the 63 truck, Daniel Brown, has been released from the care center. We saw his truck in the tire barrier over here on the exit of turn 8.
Look at that dive that Tagliani makes down into the corner, but Cameron's able to drop away on exit. You think the Canadian flags aren't flying proudly all around this racetrack?
Running 1-2 right here.
1-2 right out in front.
I'll tell you, Cameron Haley's been complaining about forward bite up off the corners, but he's looked pretty good here since this restart.
There's Sauter in the 98 right now. He's running in 6th position.
He was able to get by the 19 of Tyler Reddick for that 6th spot. Now he's going after the 11 of Ben Kennedy.
This has to be as good as it gets for Cameron Haley. Young man that's come to the Truck Series. He's gotten his feet under him, really competitive, top 10 finishes weekly, and now in his homeland, he's leading this race.
Sauter's best run here was a year ago when he finished 8th place and 6th here today.
Cameron Haley ran this race last year, finished 15th, but remember, he ran the East and the West K&N Series, and he got a lot of road racing experience in both those series.
You know, so many people think of, obviously, Alex Tagliani having great success in open wheel racing. You know, when he was running in the kart series, he only had 1 win. It came in 2004 and was on a road course at Road America.
But always so fast. Obviously an Indy 500 pole winner.
And I think Cameron Haley was in like the 3rd or 4th grade back then. When Tagliani was winning in kart in an Indy car. And that's how quickly this young man's gotten up to speed.
You know, all of our lead changes so far today have taken place during pit stops. We haven't had one on the track yet. That could change here in a little bit.
Looks like Tagliani's heating up Cameron Haley right now, but Haley's doing an outstanding job. If he makes the slightest mistake, Tagliani's going to pounce on him.
And you got to give it to Cole Custer. He's right there as well, making ground against Tagliani. You can see he's closed right up on Alex. So therefore, if Alex slipped, Custer will get him.
Boy, Tagliani's so good through the middle of the Moss corner. Named after Sir Sterling Moss, who won the very first race here.
I got my picture made with Sterling Moss.
Yeah, I saw him out in Monterey a week or so ago. Still looks great.
Looks great. Loves cars.
Yeah, looks like he can still wheel one of these machines. You know, he won that race in a 2.5-liter Coventry Climax powered Lotus 19.
A Lotus, how about that?
A little different than what we're racing
here we go, here we go.
Here's Tagliani to the inside. Contact with Haley. Haley gets pushed wide off the track, and Custer now goes for the lead.
That ain't no way to treat your countryman.
Tagliani trying to lean on him to the inside, but Custer not having anything to do with it as he slips to 0-0. Down into turn 2. Jones right on their tail.
To get up to turn 5 like this, you got to give the advantage to Custer. Oh, he runs him off the road.
All right, remember last year now, guys. The 0-0 was spun out from the front bumper of the 19 at that time, driven by Tagliani. Looks like he ran him off the track there a little bit.
Yeah, that was aggressive for just 27 laps, not even halfway. He took the line away from Custer there.
And Michael, we thought all of that aggression would be played out in some of the slower corners, like turn 10 or maybe the Moss corners here, but it's been in some of the fastest sections of the racetrack.
We've seen Haley a couple times turn down inside here. He made contact with a 29. He didn't get away with it that time.
And that gave the 0-0 a run on the 29. You can see the two trucks getting together there. Haley off the road. And look at 0-0. Custer getting to the inside of Tagliani as they race toward turn 1.
Still there up the hill.
Watch this now. Watch this on exit. He just ran him out of racetrack there a little bit.
Man, that is a fast section.
Remember, 1 year ago, these same two drivers. Again, the 19 was Tagliani. There it is. A little bit of a shot. Turn number 5, and around goes the 00 of Cole Custer. This is later in the race. Tagliani tried to go to first gear down in turn number 5. Got some wheel hop. Turned himself around.
Well, you know, Tags has been pretty aggressive here this afternoon. Now, let's remember Mid-Ohio a couple of weeks back. He had the aggression played out on him. Maybe he's figuring, I'll be the aggressor today.
He certainly understands how aggressive these NASCAR racers are. He had the lead going into one of the final turns and got pushed out of the way by Regan Smith. Regan won the race. But look, Tagliani's going nowhere on Cole Custer. Vince, he's hanging right with him.
You know, it's interesting. I talked to Tagliani before the race about that event at Mid-Ohio, and he said he felt like he wasn't as defensive as he should have been. He said, I wasn't ready for it, so he accepted some of that blame. As you see the battle now for the lead as Tagliani on the inside and Custer trying to make the pass.
And they're door to door and leaning on each other as they work their way through 8 and 9 and back to 10 with Custer out front. Haley heads to pit road.
Hey, you talked about no lead changes on the racetrack. How about now? We've seen a couple of aggressive moves and some crazy racing up front, Hermie.
The 13 of Cameron Haley hits his pit stall. You can see some damage to the right front. It happened right here in turn 10. Left side is done, around to the right side. They're going to make air pressure adjustments only to try to help the forward drive. They did not want to make chassis adjustments and slow down the pit stop. 13 down.
I tell you guys, that's awfully early. Lap 28, we heard Jeff Hensley talking about trying to get to lap 30. He may have, since they lost the lead, he may have aborted that plan, just decided to come in early and maybe take a look at that tire rub.
I was going to say maybe because of the contact, forced him in.
How about our man Cole Custer just taking it to Alex Tagliani? Told you it was a field against Tagliani. Cole said, I got this.
He's got to feel like they're all against him right now, too. Cole Custer continues the lead here as he blasts down the Mario Andretti straight here. Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Bowmanville, Ontario, about an hour outside of Toronto.
Remember, Cole Custer has already been to victory lane this year at Gateway. Doesn't run all the races because he's not old enough yet. He will be next year.
Here's John Hunter Nemechek. He's now running all the races because he had a birthday that Gateway weekend. And the 8 right now, Hermie running in 6th.
Been a solid day for John Hunter Nemechek. He came down pit road on lap number 13. He took 4 tires, air pressure adjustment. He finished 25th here last year, basically because he had transmission issues. So this whole team was looking forward to coming back and kind of redeeming themselves on the road course. John Hunter really enjoys this type of racing, and it's showing so far today.
Matt Crafton battling with him. He's in 7th.
The experience of Crafton, though, you know, he's just pacing himself, making sure he's getting all he can get out of that truck, but not putting himself in some of the positions we've seen other racers do right now. He will be around at the end. That's his MO. When he's around at the end this year, he's been able to get it to victory lane a lot.
Here's Haley in the 13, who right now is listed in 19th, and that's Timothy Peters with him, and he actually made a trip back behind the wall.
Yeah, right as we got ready to restart the races, they came off turn 10. We saw Timothy Peters head to pit road. Actually had to go in the garage area. He spent a good bit of time back in the garage area. He's now being shown 7 laps down. What was a very optimistic weekend for that 17 team has certainly gone awry here.
Well, you can see he's got the pace. He's running right behind Cameron Haley, who led this race earlier. Haley's been to pit road. He's down in 19th position, but he's got fresh tires and some gas. But like you, Phil, I don't know if he's got enough gas to get to the finish. They'll need some caution flag laps for sure. Maybe a splash late while other people get 4 tires, and they can still get up front because of that strategy.
And I think we'll see a lot of these teams put 4 tires on. We know that Alex Tagliani did fuel only on his pit stop. We feel like he'll put 4 tires on. Certainly Tyler Reddick is another one of those that did fuel only.
Back to the battle for the lead. Custer just under a full second in front. Tagliani and Jones.
And that Bid Kennedy won't go away either, guys.
No, he won't.
He is right there with him. That's Eric Jones, his front bumper camera.
Look at Tagliani, a little wide there. Must be those worn tires. He's really trying to hustle that truck and having trouble keeping pace with our leader, Cole Custer, and that's giving Eric Jones a chance to heat him up.
There's Ben Kennedy right there. Really impressed with Ben Kennedy.
He's been fun to watch all day yesterday. A lot of speed in that truck. See Eric Jones peeking to the inside of tags.
Very close to speed for that 29 truck during the practices. All these crew chiefs look at the average lap time throughout the practice session. The 29 truck of Tagliani was the fastest. That 4 truck was right there behind him.
2 practice sessions and a qualifying session yesterday filled up their day. Now these 4 start to separate from the rest of the field. Vince, what are they saying about the 4 of Jones?
They've been pretty pleased with it. Earlier in the race, he was lacking drive off, but he hasn't complained about that as much here after that first pit position here in the top 5. Remember, he came here last year, hadn't raced on the road course before, and finished 3rd. Went out to Bondurant a little bit earlier this summer, spent some time out there with Chris Cook working to hone his road course racing skills, and a very impressive run for the 4 of Eric Jones. Hey, and by the way, Alex Tagliani expected to come in 3 laps, guys, to get those tires.
Yeah, we're getting in our window now. We've completed 33 laps of the 64-lap distance. Most of these teams think they can go around 30 laps. This is the 05 of John West Townley. He's had to make some contact with somebody and actually broke his tailpipes loose. They're just about to come off that truck. I think if the NASCAR officials see this, they got to bring him to pit road.
See if we can see what happens. He's on the brakes there. I think he locked the brakes up, and that gave the 25 of Wong a chance to jump inside of him, and that contact ripped the headers, the tailpipes, excuse me, completely off that truck.
Yeah, I'd say right now the only thing that's holding them on is just where they're connected up to the header. That's the tailpipe, and the collector is in between it.
He's still chasing Wong in the 25.
Remember, this is a backup truck for John West Townley. Really doing a nice job with it, though, running in the 14th spot. Unfortunately, I would think that's going to probably bring him to pit road and have to spend a little extra time on pit road to shore those tailpipes up.
And Ray Black Jr. back there in the 16th spot. He just is consistently right there. He's able to stay right at the top 15, top 20, and looking to crack inside of that top 10.
Back to Custer. Only 2 top 10 finishes and 6 starts this season.
One of them was pretty good, though, Ralph.
Yeah, that Winnie Gateway.
And there's no surprise by any of us that he's out here leading this race so fast here a year ago, and now he's picked up right where he left off.
Ran an ARCA race at New Jersey earlier this year, sat on the pole, was leading the race, got punted off the racetrack late, still ended up with a top 5 finish.
He's got 7 K&N road course starts and with a best finish of 5th.
Ben Kennedy, he heads to pit road. Vince, is he going to get 4 tires or just gas?
Oh, Ben Kennedy coming to pit lane, and as you guys mentioned, it's been an impressive day for him so far. Kennedy took 4 and fuel the first time, putting tires on it again on pit stop number 2 for Ben Kennedy to continue what he hopes to be a terrific day here at Motorsport.
Little trouble with the left rear tire there.
Oh, yeah.
Spent some extra time on pit road.
Boy, that hurt him, didn't it? Hermie, how about the 14?
Daniel Hemrick, we see the end of his pit stop right there. Scheduled pit stop. His truck has been decent, but a little bit tight to the right-hand corners on this racetrack. He's down and away on a scheduled pit stop for Daniel Hemrick.
I think that's going to open up the floodgate now. We're going to see all these guys head to pit road. We know that they should be in their window now. We're less than 30 laps to go. There's a 0-5 of John West Townley behind pit wall. They have to get the tailpipes off that truck, or at least secure those tailpipes.
2 red, no pressure. By 4 this time.
That's the radio call to Tagliani. Head
3,
right
2, 1.
and down pit road.
As you mentioned, no mistakes for any of these guys on this pit stop for sure, Vince.
Well, they're certainly reminding Alex Tagliani, 3,300 RPMs. Want to make sure you don't get a pit lane speeding penalty. Remember, on that first pit stop, it was fuel only for Tagliani. He managed to keep his position despite not having tires. Now they're going with Thorne. Jones, a slow stop over on the left side. Well, they have a lot of waiting to be done on the left side for those tires on the rear. So now they're going back over to the right side now, but a slower stop than they were hoping for Alex Tagliani. Also, the 19 of Tyler Reddick is in. Reddick's got a little bit of damage on the right rear. He's had some contact with someone. Tires and fuel for Tyler Reddick.
You saw an issue on the left rear of Tagliani's truck, as well as the fact that he was so close to pit wall that the Jackman had a little bit of trouble getting that left side up. I'm sorry, the right side up for the right side change.
Tyler Reddick takes a Broken Bow Music Group Ford back out onto the racetrack. Came into the day as a points leader, but they're all scattered about right now. That's going to really shake things up potentially today in the points.
You knew it would be that way. These guys would be from one end of the top 20 to the other as we make pit stops, as we check out different strategies. You can see Cameron Haley has gotten back to Tagliani. They're racing for position.
Remember now, both of these guys should be in their window where they don't have to stop, although Haley did come on lap 28, which we felt like was a little bit too quick. Hermie, how about the double zero?
They own the same pit plan as the 29 of Tagliani. If they got 4 tires on their first stop, it'll be 4 tires again on this stop. And full of fuel, no adjustment for the double zero of Custer. A little bit slow, just like the 29, but he's down and away.
Meanwhile, you watch Tagliani and Haley. They're running 13th and 14th. Let's go back to Vince.
Gray Gaulding, just 17 years old, making his second start this season, finished 17th in Martinsville earlier in the year. Had a great run here last year with a top 5, having another solid effort today. It's a 4-tire change for the 54 out of the KBM machine, a chassis adjustment as well for Gray Gaulding.
Gallagher right there as he pulls back out. They get a little rubbing even on pit lane.
Got to make sure you're not concerned with racing somebody down pit road, go a little bit too fast in one of the segments.
Listen to him just waiting on that gas, knowing that he's got to squeeze it down, keep from spinning those tires. We need to save some good on our tires right now, Phil. We can't be bouncing these trucks all over the place and spinning them, because we'll need those tires later if we're going to make a run to the checker.
The Ford truck hitting pit road, Vince.
Remember, we told you earlier complaint was a lack of drive off for Eric Jones. Now it's just a little bit too snug in the right-handers. He said that about a 3 snug. So they're over the wall. They're going to make an adjustment to help free up the 4 of Eric Jones. Remember, came into this race 3rd in the championship battle. 4 tires again this stop, as he took 4 on the first stop as well. A solid performance, as you'd expect, from Eric Jones today. Clean stop.
Pretty good pit stop there for Eric Jones.
Top 3 finishes in 7 of the 14 races this season for Eric Jones. There's Sauter and John Hunter Nemechek as well.
Headed back towards the racetrack. You got to remember now, these guys are pitting backwards here, just like they do at Watkins Glen. Remember, the Truck Series doesn't run at Watkins Glen, so this may be the only time this year that these guys will pit backwards.
38 laps of the 64 completed, 26 to go. Matt Crafton listed as the race leader.
Stayed out there and got that point so that he could match his championship contending competitors. Now will he come straight to pit road, Phil?
I think he can, because he only has 26 laps to go. He's well within his window. Here he comes to pit road.
All right, Hermie, here comes Z88 down pit road.
Yeah, these guys get to pit road. They're on a little bit different strategy than some of the other teams. Matt has not said a whole lot about the truck. They realize there is some time potentially to be gained on pit road. Left side down and away to the right side. You can see a major chassis adjustment. Wedge-wise, this truck has been a little bit on the tight side. They're going to try to free him up to the right-hand corners. 88 gone.
So many teams, especially those at the top of the field, have had issues changing tires today.
Yeah, it is different for these guys to pit backwards.
Now,
Wong, guys, look at the left side of Wong's car. He's got a flat left rear.
He smacked the wall with that truck, Ralph. He's got a lot of damage there.
Remember, they got together with John West Townley, too.
I think he just wrecked in turn 9. Saw a lot of...
See a little bit of debris coming off that truck. I don't know if that's rubber off that shredded tire, or maybe that's just rubber on the racetrack. NASCAR officials will be looking at this.
Oh, there he is, off Right through there, you see Wong cutting through the grass.
I think
up
he
at
hit that
turn 9.
inside wall there late between 8 and 9, and he's nursing it back to the pit road. Phil, I think all of our race-winning contending trucks have been to pit road now, so if the caution does fly, they'll just stay out. You can't come to pit road at this point and win this race, can you?
I don't think so. The only one I'm concerned with is Cameron Haley because he pitted on lap number 28.
Looks like Wong's going to make it to pit road.
And he had to go all the way back around the racetrack with that truck damaged like that.
As we shuffle back around, here's Cole Custer, who's now being shown as our leader. That's Eric Jones, the 4th truck right behind him.
And right behind them is Ben Kennedy. Ben continues this strong run. He's in 3rd spot. Last time by, the fastest truck on the track.
Well, we've cycled through the pit stops. 24 to go here, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Back here, the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series road racing today.
It's right along with Cole Custer, our leader. He's got Eric Jones heating him up about 3 truck lengths behind. We saw Cole just catch a glance at the mirror. One thing that Michael and I have been watching is when we get over here to turn number 5, we talk about how slow we are, down to 2,500 RPMs. Cole Custer's been going down the 1st gear, and it really gives him a launch up off the corner. Let's see if we can watch him when we get down to turn number 5. He's not there yet.
He's in 2nd there. He goes to 3rd.
There he is as he gets down to turn number 5.
That's 2nd.
That's 2nd.
Saw him float down there.
There he goes. 1st gear right there. Watch him launch off this corner.
Good job through that corner, bud. That's how you got to do it.
That's how you got to do it.
The only thing about that, we got to take care of those rear tires. We're really going to need them within the last 5 laps. And when you put 1st gear to those rear tires, has a tendency to spin them. So as long as he's not abusing his tires, I like that move. He's able to get a little bit of separation there from Jones.
But that was a great corner for Jones that time, though. He really maintained that spot. We saw a couple laps before that, the 0-0 gain a couple truck lengths. Eric Jones is all over him.
We saw Jones. He wasn't shy to dive down on the inside coming into 10 earlier today. Let's ride along with Eric Jones inside this 4 and see if he elects to use 2nd gear. We'll follow along as he's been using 2nd gear in turn 5. He hasn't gone to 1st. Let's see if he sticks with that strategy. Or maybe he's seeing what Custer's doing and we'll make an adjustment here.
They've got the 07 truck of Ray Black Jr. in front of him. Custer's going to get by easily. Going to bring Jones with him.
Black Jr.'s running in the 19th place. Look at that differing lines they've got there. That's 3rd gear. Hear him winding it out.
He's going to grab 2nd right here. There's 2nd.
We know
Going to be a full course caution. Still green. Still green.
He just left it right in 2nd.
Right 2nd gear.
And that's got to be easier on those rear tires, right, Phil?
It is easy. You really can spin those tires. But Cole Custer's doing a great job. We hear talk about it being a full course caution. There it is. Right there.
And it's to 33.
Caution's out.
We saw some damage to the rear of Brandon Jones's truck earlier, and now he's hit the wall pretty good with that right front.
Yeah, a lot of damage to the front of that Silverado.
Looks like that might be over in the turn 2 area.
Yeah, there he is. Just runs off the racetrack.
Yeah, wow.
Makes pretty good contact.
You think that was a flat tire?
It looked like a right front tire maybe had gone down.
You can see he just swings around that corner and the truck never
turns. He was following the 14 of Daniel Hemrick.
That's one of those spots, Phil, we were talking about earlier, where you have to be totally committed, going over that blind corner, carrying a lot of speed in there with 20 to go. 3rd caution of the day.
I don't see anybody running up in the top 10 coming in pit road unless they feel like that they need a big adjustment, but you can't give up the track position now, can you?
No, I don't think you can win if you come to pit road. We've got a solid top 5. All that top 10 trucks, they're going to have to stay right where they are. Maybe if you're running in the back half of the top 10, you come in.
Nothing to lose. Maybe you can steal a couple spots, but let's take another look at it. Is that right front tire is
down.
Look at him moving.
Something broke. Something broke in the right front suspension on that truck.
That was turn 1, and then by the time he got to turn 2,
like a tie rod or something like that looked like.
You know, you hop these curbs so aggressively. It always surprises me. More stuff under there doesn't break because of all the violent transitions you make at these road courses.
Good to see him with the helmet off, ready to crawl out.
Better roll up your sleeves, boys. It's going to be a tough 20 laps. You're going to win this race.
You're going to have to work for it today.
Yes, you are.
And we saw the aggressive driving early. We know there'll be more to come.
We saw the trouble on pit road for Alex Tagliani. It actually cost him 4 seconds on the racetrack. The caution flag is going to close that gap up and do away with that deficit.
There you see Tagliani inside that Ford EcoBoost truck.
It's Custer, Eric Jones, Kennedy, Tagliani, and Haley in the top 5.
Brad Keselowski Racing looking to win 2 races in a row this year. The Cooper Standard folks were all out in full force at Michigan cheering for the hometown hero of Brad Keselowski. Now Brad Keselowski Racing trying to get a win here in Canada for the 2nd year in a row. Matt Crafton pitted later than the rest. Finds himself back in the 6th spot with a fast truck.
Yeah, pretty solid run and good to be able to close up on these guys.
Yeah, and maybe, you know, those few more laps he ran under green, now his tires are fresher, so that could be an advantage for Crafton. Just a couple laps, but every little bit helps.
I want to keep an eye on Cameron Haley, because remember, he pitted way back on lap number 28. He's being shown right now in the 5th spot. If he doesn't come to pit road now, then they feel like they have enough fuel to go to the distance.
Making their way over to turn 8 right now. We'll keep an eye on the field and see if anybody dives for pit road. Here they come.
I don't think anybody up front is, unless Cameron Haley would be the first truck to come to pit road, I believe, if he's coming. And he is coming to pit road. He is. I think they pit a little bit early. Tyler Reddick is going to follow him down pit road as well.
All right, Hermie, here he comes. Haley and then Reddick behind him.
Yeah, Ralph, not only were they 4 laps short of fuel, they realized they did not have the truck that was going to be able to keep the speed to stay in contention to win. It's 4 tires, fuel, letting air pressure out of both rear tires, and a track bar adjustment for the 13 of Cameron Haley. Vince?
Tyler Reddick, he's a little bit too tight, especially in turn 2, and says he doesn't have the forward drive he needs. And crew chief Doug Randolph said the tires mean something, so we're going to get 4. This will keep them to the end, obviously, but they feel like this is maybe going to give them their best shot for a best finish.
Jordan Anderson went to pit road as well.
I like the strategy for Reddick. He was running back on the nights we talked about maybe the back half of the lead lap trucks. Why not roll the dice, get up and get some better tires?
We'll see how it all plays out when we come back to Motorsport. Cole Custer continues to lead here with 18 laps to go. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series in action here outside of Toronto.
Cole Custer is no stranger to the lead. He can put that truck out front, right?
This is why we're under yellow. 3rd time today. 33 truck of Brandon Jones being towed back. Trying to ram guts and glory.
About
1 week ago in Bristol.
At Bristol, Cole Custer, the 00 leading. The 23 of Spencer Gallagher turns around right in front of him. A lot of contact, a lot of damage to that 00. Takes him out of contention.
And now he's going for a lead this week. And Alex Tagliani acts like he just isn't even there. Shoves Custer off the road. But Custer rebounds and grabs the lead back from Tagliani. And that's where he sets now 1st place. And that is some guts and glory.
Well, I cannot wait for this restart here. We got Eric Jones right now second row. Ben Kennedy, who's been good all weekend, and Tagliani right there in row number 2.
This is good stuff.
Here's Tagliani. Inside with the Ford onboard camera, running in 4th.
Oh, so close a couple weeks ago at Mid-Ohio to getting that first NASCAR win. Just about the last corner. Got eased offline by Regan Smith. Ended up finishing 2nd. He's trying to change that around here.
He already ran the Canadian Touring Car Series event this morning and the Canadian Tire Stock Car division as well.
Listen, this is what Alex is faced with. He's 42 years old, world-renowned road racer. The 2 guys on the front row, their age equals 36, the 2 of them together. And he's got to go out there and try to figure out some way to battle with those young men and grab this win away from them. And I'll tell you, Cole Custer showed showed to Alex Tagliani, he's serious. I've got a faster truck than you, and he passed him.
So have you seen anywhere, if you are a Tagliani, for example, and you got everybody else looking at you as a guy, how do you do this today?
I just think you have to dive deep into the corner. We saw Alex. He wasn't shy to do that down here in turn 10. That's a very, very good spot just to outbrake a guy. We've seen that happen. We've seen contact not only today, but 2 years ago. Chase Elliott ran in there and knocked the leader out of the way to win the race. So that's where we're going to have to keep our eyes peeled. If it's going to be an aggressive move, it's going to be in 10. If it's going to be a classic road race battle, it could be up into turn 5 and 5A.
Cole Custer's going to choose the inside line. He wants to be on the inside when he gets down to turn number 1.
Lights are off on the pace track. Could be one of the more important restarts of the day right here.
Look at our championship leader. We know that he came to pit road. Tyler Reddick, he's way back in that pack of traffic. See if he can work his way through that.
Here we go. Engine out of turn 10, waiting for the green flag. There it is, and we're racing again. Jones with a good jump. Can he clear him on the outside?
A little bit of contact on the second row. Looked like Kennedy got into Tagliani a little bit.
Blind entrance into 2.
Custer got there before Eric Jones. He opens up the bottom. Eric Jones sticks a nose in there for a moment.
Tagliani now into 3rd.
Nice.
Heading over towards turn number 4. Down the hill they go again. And Gaulding trying to get around Haley.
Haley with a little bit fresher tires, remember?
Tagliani closes right up on the back of the 4. Jones holds him off but gets up on the curbing. Got a little loose.
I thought he was going to lose a little bit of momentum. Doesn't look like he did. About a truck link in between them.
He's able to draft up on the 0-0 of Cole Custer. That might help his momentum a bit. Ford versus Chevy versus Toyota up in the top 3.
Remember, Tagliani's just not riding right now. He'd love to get by these trucks as quick as he can, and then he can control the race.
Here comes turn 10. Will he be aggressive now, or do you wait?
Watch Eric Jones. He's going to try to get to the inside. Didn't do it. Cole Custer hard into turn 10.
What about the situation Jones finds himself in? He's running second, racing for a championship between 2 guys. They're just racing to win a race. Neither one of those trucks are racing for a driver's championship.
Ooh, look at the 29 get loose, coming off a 1 as the 4 of Jones got pretty wide.
Guys, remember earlier we talked about Matt Crafton, how he wasn't going to take any chances early. He was just going to creep into contention and be there when all the points were on the line. Look where he's at now.
He's there.
He is part of this battle for the lead. He runs back in the 5th spot just behind Ben Kennedy.
There's Crafton back in 5th position.
It'd be hard for him to sneak up on anybody in that yellow truck, wouldn't it?
Oh, the 51.
Matt tipped.
Yep, tipped right into the wall. Into the tire barriers, we should say.
Looks like he may be able to drive it away, but a lot of damage to that Kyle Busch truck.
He was running 15.
We stay green for now.
And look at the gap that Tagliani's made up on Jones. He's all over him as they head down toward... Oh, is he going to make the move? He looks.
Oh, he sure did, right at turn 8.
I think right here at turn 10 is where he's going to make the move if he's going to do it. He's a little bit different line than Eric Jones. Is he going to try to get there?
And the caution is out.
Caution is out, full force.
That's because of Tift.
Cole Custer says, okay, great. My reward for doing a great job the first time
is to do it again.
I get to try it again. Tiff just couldn't make his way all the way back to the pit in that 51 Toyota.
And getting a great one here today, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Matt Tiff's truck is on the hook, making its way back to the garage area with 14 to go. Here's a recap of how the day's gone so far.
Big jump by Tagliani at the initial start.
Was able to work his way to the lead and held that lead.
Custer, the 0-0, has made his way towards the front, ultimately to the lead.
See him making his way by championship contender Matt Crafton.
Action on lap 17, a restart, and this was an issue for Tagliani.
Looked like Cameron Haley was our leader when Tagliani was a little bit ahead of Cameron Haley. When he went back off to get behind him, Cameron went, and then when he jumped in the throttle, he spun the tires, lost 3 or 4 spots.
And watch these aggressive moves. Golly, Tagliani way to the bottom, knocks Haley out of the way, and then around the outside, Cole Custer's trying to make his way past Tagliani. I'm going to crowd you out of the way.
That was all on the same lap, too.
And then Cole Custer said, okay, if you can do that to me, I'm going to pass you back here. I'm going to jump to the outside and then back to the inside and get that lead back.
They rubbed again there. Brandon Jones had been running pretty good, but take a look at the right front tire of the 33.
You can see some damage to the right rear, so that truck had been off the road, and that tire was all over the place.
He ended up hitting the wall in turn 2. These youngsters having a good time today. We'll be right back. Friday, September 18th, NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing returns, and we'll be at Chicagoland Speedway to bring you all the action. Coverage begins Friday, September 18th at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
That'll be great racing. It won't be anything like this road course racing, but it'll be great racing.
Here's our leader, Cole Custer. He's been doing a good job, and things have been pretty aggressive around him, and there's every reason to believe as we see him saving fuel.
Got to have a little bit of extra in case there's a green-white checker.
Yep.
Doesn't cost anything to save some here, so that's what he's doing.
But we believe there's going to be a lot more action to come, as Tyler Reddick was talking about on the radio.
You still having fun out there? Hey, man, I'm getting ready to make a lot of friends. Yeah, you're doing a great job there, man. It's getting ready to be a lot of fun here.
Yes,
Get those elbows up.
I think he was being facetious about making friends.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't think he's worried about that right now. He's got plenty of fuel. He's setting in the 10th spot with fresh tires. He knows he's faster than most all those trucks ahead of him. But golly, unless you get aggressive like we've seen other guys do, you're not going to get through these other trucks. Racing for a championship, Bill, how aggressive can he afford to be?
I think right now the only thing in his mind is moving forward and whatever it takes to do that.
I've raced cars for a long time, and I'm as excited right now as if I was behind the wheel of one of these things, because I know the emotions those top 10 drivers are faced with, the decisions that they're going to have to make in order to get to victory lane, and how bad each of them want it.
The 33 of Jones has been released from the care center, so good news there. We've had 6 leaders, 12 lead changes, and 4 cautions today for 11 laps.
I don't think we've seen our last caution, Ralph.
I think you're right, Michael, and the lights are off the top of the pace truck.
This restart's going to be so critical here. How about the 94 right there? TJ Bell running in the 12th spot. What a great job by him.
And what about my man Jordan Anderson? He's inside of the top 16 in that 74 truck. He pulled it all the way up here himself.
And he's got to drive home by himself.
All right, let's get ready to go back to racing. Custer and Jones on the front row.
Doing a great start by our front row. Even, good momentum.
Oh, did they make contact there right on the entrance to 1?
I think Custer got loose down on the bottom. It gave Eric Jones a chance to grab the lead.
And he's got it.
Tagliani into 3rd. Kennedy 4th.
Cole Custer wants that lead back. He's not going to waste any time trying to get it.
Crafton right in front of Sauter. That's 5th and 6th.
Jones has opened up a couple truck link lead right now on the 0-0.
But the 0-0 is being heated up by Alex Tagliani. Watch the 0-0 get loose on the bottom. Right there, sideways.
Right there. Had to chase it up the hill a little bit. Almost made contact with Jones, but Jones never backed off.
I like that outside going into that one, Phil, just for that reason. We're at a road course, but they're running over 100 miles an hour. You're going to get arrow loose when you're side by side into some of these corners.
Riding with Tagliani. Closing in on the back of Custer.
Look at that draft working. He's able to pull up on Custer. Custer will have none of it, dives to the bottom and takes the lane away.
You don't want that 4 truck to get too far away.
Well, here comes 10. Do you get aggressive here yet? Crafton. He's trying to get to the inside of Kennedy. Couldn't get it done in turn 10.
Still hangs down to the low side. Ben makes the hard turn into turn 1 and keeps that spot. Look at
Tagliani right there with Custer, and they're making all kinds of contact. Through 1. Leaning on each other, and 2, and around goes Custer.
Does a great job keeping it. Oh,
man,
that was Reddick.
Reddick was way wide through 2. Just gets around Custer. We're still green.
Cole Custer was doing all he could do to hold on to that second spot. They made contact. There he is back on the racetrack.
So we stay green with 11 to go.
Cole lost all his track position, though.
Tagliani got really aggressive and taking that spot away, and I think Cole Custer said, I'm going to take it back, but he got loose, arrow loose down on the bottom and spun that truck.
Now can Tagliani reel in Jones? Let's go back and look at this.
Look, Tagliani just doesn't leave him any room.
That's the second time in this race that he's kind of squeezed him out. See, Cole's going to drive it hard over that hump into turn 2. He gets loose right there. They make just a slight bit of contact. Couldn't hold it. And then Reddick came along as we get another look at it with a double zero going around, and he was hung on the outside, had to go around the outside of the double zero.
We talk about that being a blind corner. When Reddick got there, I think he didn't know where the double zero was going to go. See, he just gets sideways. They make a little bit of contact.
He got squeezed again there a little bit to the inside.
Meanwhile, Jones with a second up in front of Tagliani with our Camping World 10 to go.
Boy, Eric Jones needs to run 10 perfect laps here with that very fast Cooper Standard Ford of Tagliani behind him.
That time just by about 1/10 of a second. As we march toward our Camping World 10 to go, by 1/10 of a second, Jones was faster than Tagliani. How big's that 29 feel in the mirror to that kid up there driving the Ford truck?
Maybe he won't look in the mirror. Maybe just concentrate on hitting his marks. We know he has a fast truck. He knows he has a fast truck. Just do everything right.
He's led 30% of the laps run this season.
That's amazing. Only won one race. A lot of problems along the way kept him out of victory lane, but it hadn't kept him out of the hunt for this championship. He's still right there.
And as they run on the racetrack right now, he would be our point leader.
Look at Ben Kennedy. He's able to hold off Matt Crafton, but the gap ahead of Kennedy and all those trucks lined up behind him, he better hope he doesn't slip, because you'll see Sauter, Crafton, even Daniel Hemrick into the top 10. He could grab that spot.
And that's no big surprise to see Hemrick in the top 10. 8 of his last 9 starts resulted in top 10 finishes, but his first ever truck series race on a road course.
Tied for a career best 4th at Bristol to Daniel Hemrick.
Also part of that battle, John Hunter Nemechek's there. Spencer Gallagher, again, running inside the top 10.
Cameron Haley right now, remember, made a late pit stop. He's running in the 9th spot right now.
That's such a crazy shot. We know how tough that is, how difficult it is to make that turn.
Nemechek, all kinds of loose, Michael, going through the Moss corners. He was trying to gain a spot on Hemrick and climbed the curbing instead.
Cost him about 4 spots right there. You see him get going behind the 54 of Gray Galding.
Looks like a tire slap on that 8 truck.
He's got a problem.
There it goes.
Now, can he get it around, or will this bring out a caution?
That could also destroy his front suspension if that tire flat and he starts dragging his sway bar arms.
He's got to get over the racetrack right here. Does so. Long now behind him, and John Hunter's able to limp off the racetrack. He was 7th when he had those issues.
See a lot of grass on the grill too, Hermie. Need to clean that grill off, Hermie.
A lot of disappointment down here. You can see the flat left front tire for Nemechek. Last year it was a transmission issue. This year, contact on the racetrack in the final 10 laps, trying to get the left side of the truck up to change the tires, get him back on the racetrack and salvage something. But a lot of disappointment after a solid run today for John Hunter Nemechek.
Well, he was battling with Daniel Hemrick as they came through this section right here.
Guys, the last lap, Tagliani was the fastest truck. Watch here, he goes to the inside of Hemrick.
I think as soon as he hit Hemrick, that tire started losing air, because you can see he's just off the road right there.
Tough break for John Hunter was solid this race, running well up inside the top 10.
Remember that 10th of a second advantage that I said Jones had over Tagliani a couple laps ago? the other way now.
We'll take a quick break. Come back to Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for the finish. Back here in Canada, Ralph Shaheen, Phil Parsons, Michael Waltrip, Hermie Sadler, and Vince Welch with you with 6 laps remaining. Eric Jones leads. You're looking off the back of his truck to Alex Tagliani, who's giving him chase right now, Vince.
Well, Tagliani's spotter's telling him he has nothing behind him to worry about. Everything is out front, and that everything is the Ford truck of Eric Jones. His team reminding him, hit your marks. The only place Tagliani's beating you is in turn 5. Everywhere else, you're even with him, so keep the drive off, and you'll win the race. Easier said than done with a handful of laps to go.
Caution with 5 to go. And there's the reason. It's Tyler Reddick at turn 8 again.
Oh, what huge point implications.
I don't have reverse.
Said he doesn't have reverse. That's Tyler on the radio. He was running in the 10th spot. He was going to have a decent day here, but this is really going to hurt him.
He had slipped to 3rd in the points the way they were running on the track. And boy, it could get a lot worse now.
We're hearing that the 54 of Greg Golding was involved with a 19 of Reddick in that incident. He's making his way to pit road. You see the damage to the right rear corner.
Contact right there.
Both of those trucks into the tire barrier.
Well, he was talking about making friends, and looks like he might have made one. Not sure if Golding just got on the brakes a little quicker than he expected before they made contact. We'll be right back. We heard Tyler Reddick say he didn't have reverse, so they got him out of the tire barrier. Tyler actually crawled out of the truck, talked to the NASCAR officials, and then back in he went.
Yeah, they told him he could get back in the truck. I wondered why he got out of the truck. Just say, pull me back out of here. Let me see if it'll crank and if it'll steer, and I'll drive it back to pit road.
I think his plan was to get out, see how much damage was done, and then when he saw how little it was, he wanted to get in there and go. This is the other truck that was in that crash. It looked like the 54 of Golding was ahead of Reddick, and they just made contact, and Reddick couldn't get slowed down enough for the 54 not to carry him into that outside wall. There he goes. Thinking about a championship right now.
Right to pit road goes Tyler Reddick.
He's already lost at least 1 lap, Vince, maybe even 2.
Vince, here he comes.
Crew Chief Doug Randolph was in the process of sending guys to pit road, and then he actually saw on our monitor that Tyler Reddick was back in the truck, so they called everybody back. They're looking at just hopefully not having to cut anything off, but more just beat the fenders out, keep him rolling so they lose as few positions as possible. But oh, so costly. He was the points leader coming into this race today.
He was, and right now, Vince, as they run, he's listed in 3rd, 15 points down to Eric Jones, who's now the points leader. Making our way back around to another restart with 3 laps to go.
Gonna have 2 to go when they get to the line here. So important on this restart. We saw Eric Jones get the lead from Cole Custer on that previous restart.
But Jones was on the high side. He's elected to take the bottom. We saw Custer get loose down there. See if Jones can hang on against Tagliani down low.
Back to green. Good restart by both, already leaning on each other in turn 1. Jones just out in front.
Clear.
That was Rudy Fugel, his crew chief, telling him clear.
Listen to how dramatic that is. You're clear. Grab that spot. Protect that lead.
But for how long? Crafton up to 3rd. Could be a great day in the points for him.
Look at Spencer Gallagher inside the top 10.
Haley up over the curbs in the 13.
Haley with those bit fresher tires. He's up to 7th now.
That's Brian Wong in the 29 and the 25 truck we saw for just a moment.
Ooh.
He's up in the top 10.
All kinds of loose in the front end of that truck.
Earlier we saw Wong in a crash. John Hunter Nemechek racing for the top 10 as well after having a flat. These boys are desperate. It's time to go.
Making our way over towards turn 10. Here's 7, now 8 coming up.
Look at that little bit of gap Eric Jones is able to gain off turn 5.
I think if he could just have some gap before they get to turn 10. At the dive bomb over in turn 10.
We're coming to the white.
Safe this time through 10. Will he be that way on the last lap?
All right, white flag. Coming back no matter what.
That's right.
What shape will it be in when it gets there? Here we go. Down through 1.
How about Kennedy and Hemrick in the top 5 right now here?
Doing a great job. Doing a great job. And Sauter right behind them in 6th.
Eric Jones is driving as hard as he ever has right now, knowing the pressure's coming from Alex Tagliani.
The crew told him Tagliani was better than him in turn 5. Maybe Tags will try something there.
We're going to find out here in just a moment.
2.5.
That's where we see Eric Jones use that first gear to get a bit of a jump off turn 5. Look,
here it
Tagliani
is,
pulls
right
up on him.
Comes to the inside, can't get there. But he closed up. Jones able to get a good drive off the corner.
He's going to have about one more shot on him, and that's going to be in turn 10.
Look at Jones. He pulls away.
Great
Something's wrong
drive.
with the
Tagliani
29.
with a big problem in the 29. His race is coming apart on the final half a lap. Jones pulling away. He lost a gear in the 29.
On the last lap.
Jones on his way.
Bring it back to us. Clear by 10.
His 6th win in his 32nd race. His first win here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in his 2nd attempt. He gets it done on the road course.
Buddy, great job, driver. Woo! Woo! That's fun. Way to drive the wheels off that thing, man. Drive off. That's patience. That's everything. That was Anderson in a bottle right there in that last run. Way to go.
His first road course win, and he will take over the points lead and more road course frustration in NASCAR competition for Alex Tagliani.
See if we can hear what happened to that.
Figure lost 4th gear.
Sound like when he went to go from 2nd to 3rd. It broke. And remember earlier, he would have been going from 2nd to 3rd when he missed that shift or when he spun his tires earlier. So whether that had anything to do with it or not, but that was a definite transmission explosion.
He really wound it out there in 2nd gear, hit the rev limiter, and then when he tried to grab 3rd, it sounded like something broke.
Jones becomes the 13th different driver to win a road course race in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. We'll hear from him when we come back. This is the 44th victory for Kyle Busch Motorsports as an organization, their 5th of 2015. That leaves Atlanta as the only racetrack Kyle Busch Motorsports has not won yet.
It's amazing. Really
It really is. Let's hear once again the audio inside the 29.
Just did a great job of running off this 5th turn, power down. Listen, when he goes from 2nd to 3rd,
well, let's hear from Alex Tagliani. He is with Hermie Sadler.
Well, we heard the damage to the truck on the last lap. Another disappointing top 5 finish for you. You keep trying, knocking on the door. Did the truck give any warning that it was going to give up at the end of the race?
No, honestly, I had like a couple of grinding in 3rd gear, but during the race it was good. On the back straightaway, as soon as I went to 3rd gear, it shredded. So put it into 4th, but it was too low in RPM and the guys went by us. It's unfortunate for the Cooper Standard boys, the 29 truck. All weekend long we did really good. A couple of mishaps here and there during the race. Track position at some point was quite important. And it's tough when you race with the guys are in for the championship. I see them in front of me. I don't want to hurt them. So it's tough to pass clean. But, nevertheless, it was a really fun ride. I really enjoyed. Thanks to Brad Keselowski and the whole team. And, hopefully we can do it again.
That's Alex Tagliani. He comes home 5th.
Well, let's show you how it turned the points around here today. In the top three, basically just flip-flopping. Eric Jones goes to the points lead. He's 3 up on Crafton, and Tyler Reddick drops all the way to third. 15 points down now. He was credited with a 19th place finish today.
It's only 15 points, Ralph. That's 15 finishing positions over the rest of these races here. Still way in it.
And as tight as things are, you got to figure there's going to be other stumbles along the way. This is going to get good.
Matt Crafton finished second today, Hermie.
Yeah, maybe the first time I've seen Crafton smile when you didn't win. A good solid day for you guys. Had the right strategy at the end. One more restart, could you have a shot at the guys up front?
Oh, I guarantee you whatever. It just would take our truck a lap or so to get going. I said the 4 and the 29 got away from me right there, but coming to the checker, it really starts coming to me, and I felt like I could make a run at him then. I didn't really want to see that last yellow, but like I said, it worked out. Top 2 finish, not too bad, especially from where we were 2 years ago. I mean, 2 years ago we were disgraced. I was pretty embarrassed. I know I wasn't that bad on a road course, and Junior and these guys worked so hard, brought something back a lot better last year, and like I said, they worked on it again and made it that much better again this year. So I said hats off to those guys bringing these awesome trucks, and I'm the lucky guy that gets to drive them.
Matt Crafton comes home second. Let's go to victory lane.
He's 19 years old, and he is the points leader in the Camping World Truck Series as he celebrates his second victory of the season. Eric Jones, you did it. You won on a road course. How good does that feel?
Well, it's awesome, especially winning with Tagliani here and all these guys. Man, this is a good piece. We built it last year, improved on it for this year, and pretty happy to get this KBM Toyota Tundra victory lane. It's just an awesome day. Joe Gibbs Racing Engines, Camping World of Fans, thank you. Just a great day. It's awesome to get back in victory lane here again, and hopefully get things rolling for the next 2 weeks.
What's going through your mind on that last restart?
Well, that I had to clear the 29. We raced hard, and we were able to clear him. And fortunately, ran out of gas going down the hill, but I think we could have held him off anyways. But an awesome day, an awesome race, an awesome truck, an awesome team. So not much more you can say than that. But just a great day.
Great day indeed. He's the winner at Motorsport.
And it's the first time he's led the points, and now he joins great drivers like Dan Gurney, Jackie Stewart, Emerson Fittipaldi, James Hunt, and even A.J. Foyt, who have won Premier Division races here. Let's hear from Ben Kennedy. A good run for him, Hermie. He finishes third.
He ties his career best, and were you expecting to do that at the road course? You guys were fast all weekend long.
Yeah, we really were. These guys, the local motors team, did an awesome job, and really happy for us to kind of rebound like this after the whole season we've had. We struggled a little bit on the restarts through turn 1. The outside line was definitely the preferred line, because if you got your nose up there, you could carry it through 2 and usually clear them. So really happy to bring it home third. This is awesome for our team. It's a big momentum shift for us, and hopefully we can carry it on to Chicagoland.
Solid run for Ben Kennedy. He comes home third.
Chicagoland coming up in about 2 weeks. What a day for Eric Jones.
Yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot that this young man has not been able to do here, and now he puts a road course win under his belt.
I mean, he's passed every test, but man, this was a tough one. He drove around Alex Tagliani with 2 to go and drove off to victory lane. What an amazing young talent he is. And Kyle Busch Motorsports, they just continue to bring solid, fast Toyota trucks, and Eric's getting the job done.
Great run for Daniel Hemrick, too, with 4th, Hermie.
Yeah, Ralph, this team and drivers seem to fly under the radar, but you go to a lot of places for the first time, this being another, and you guys find a way to get a top 5, top 10. Excellent run today. Tell us about your day from start to finish and what brought you home to a top 5 finish.
Yeah, it was wild to say the least. We had the opportunity to come here. It's cool that NASCAR brings us here to pack this place with fans. The race started out wild for us. Kind of constant battle, learning what I needed to learn throughout the race, and found ourselves, most part 8 to 10 throughout the day. And I myself got a lot better throughout the day. I mean, the truck was really good. Again, thank everybody at NCS Motorsports and California Clean Power for giving us the opportunity to come do this weekend and week out, man. It's so much fun, and it's good for us. We'll keep this rolling and go to the next one.
A lot of momentum for the 14 team.
Well, 2 weeks from now, we'll get back at it. Chicagoland Speedway. Make sure you join us for that. As the championship marches on, you'll see it Friday, September 18th at 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports 1. For Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, Vince Welch, and Hermie Sadler, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Congratulations to the new points leader, Eric Jones, on his first road course win.